Why can't you be more like my ex? That's what she asked me on our anniversary. I paid for dinner, took her home, and never looked back. Today, she's alone, awkward, being ignored by me and by the very past she idealized so much. Hi, everyone. If you follow the channel and haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time. Let's get straight to the point. I grew up believing that love was made of calm, security, routine, like a house built little by little, with patience, brick by brick. Sophie made me question all of that. When we started going out, she was electric, beautiful, full of presence, the kind of woman who dominates any environment. And I was never the guy who attracts that kind of attention. I'm not ugly, but I'm more reserved. I work with programming, take care of my space, work out 3 times a week, and pay my bills on time. I'm the kind of man mothers approve of, and that many say they want, but almost never choose. Even so, she chose me, or at least that's what I thought. We met at a friend's apartment warming party. She had a natural charm, as if she didn't even need to try. Later, she told me I caught her attention because I was the only one who didn't try to impress. I just asked what book she was reading. Today, I see that I wasn't special. I was just different from the last one. His name? Ryan. That kind of ex a woman swears she got over but keeps using as a reference. Loud, impulsive, lived like a rock star, even working part-time at a vape shop. According to her, he cheated, lied, didn't pay rent, and even disappeared for days. But when she talked about him, it was as if it were a sad love story and not a warning sign. At first, I tried to ignore it. Everyone has an ex, right? But it didn't stop. There was a time we were cooking together, something simple, tacos with beer, and she said, "You're so domestic." Ryan hated eating at home. Or when I took her to a lake one weekend, she looked around and said, "This is cute, but Ryan already took me to a concert in another state without even planning. He just packed a bag and we went." It hurt, but I swallowed it. I thought she was just dealing with the past. I thought that if I showed what a real relationship is, she would stop romanticizing a guy who messed up. I did everything for her to feel safe. She said she had never had someone who listened like I did, who remembered details, like how she liked the coffee, or the fact that she hated waking up early, but loved the sunrise if someone woke her gently. Sometimes she said, "I know I don't show it much, but you're good for me." And the next week, she criticized my lifestyle because I didn't want to move to Los Angeles to follow her influencer friends. It was an emotional roller coaster, as if I was being tested all the time, evaluated, compared to someone who clearly failed but was still the parameter. I continued, maybe out of stubbornness or hope, or because when you invest time and energy in someone, leaving feels like giving up and not self-care. Our 2-year anniversary was coming. I reserved a table at a restaurant she had wanted to know for months. Elegant, but not exaggerated. I bought a simple silver necklace inspired by a drawing she scribbled on a napkin. I even wrote a letter. I thought it would be the night she would finally see me for real. I had no idea it would be our last meeting. I arrived early. The necklace was in my coat pocket, the letter folded in my wallet. The restaurant was calm, with low light and soft music. I asked them to light the candle on the table. I wanted to create the mood. Sophie arrived 20 minutes late. She was wearing a short black dress and the same perfume from our first date. I thought she remembered. Maybe she got ready carefully. But the first thing she said was, "Sorry, I was talking to Julia about Ryan." "Ryan?" I forced a smile. I asked if everything was okay. "Nothing much," she said. "Julia met him downtown. Seems he bought a new car. They said he looks good." I nodded, pretending normality. She didn't even notice the reaction in my eyes. We ordered drinks. Wine for her, water for me, since I was going to drive. We talked about nothing. I asked about work. She shrugged. I complimented the dress. She replied, "It's old." The food arrived. No real conversation. Halfway through the meal, I took the little box from my pocket and slid it to her on the table. Her eyes shined for a second. A gift. I felt to try the scene casual.
"It's nothing much. I just thought you would like it." She opened the box and kept looking at the necklace. It was simple, a silver pendant, small, kinda abstract. It had the shape of a twisted crescent moon, like a wave in the middle of a calm sea. Herself had drawn something similar once, scribbling distractedly on the back of a coffee receipt. Sophie tilted her head, analyzing. "It's cute." I hesitated. "You didn't like it?" "No, I liked it. It's just that—" She looked again at the necklace. "Ryan used to give me very flashy pieces, big things, kind of vintage. This one is more simple, but it's delicate." I stayed silent. I picked up the fork again and nodded as if it hadn't hurt. But then, without lifting her eyes from the plate, she said, "Why can't you be more like Ryan?" I froze. My hand stopped in the air. I dropped the fork. "What?" She raised her eyes, blinking as if she hadn't even realized what she said. Then she laughed, as if trying to disguise it. "Oh, don't take it so seriously. I just meant that Ryan had a fire, you know? He was unpredictable, intense. You're so safe, reliable. Sometimes I feel like I settled." There it was. 2 years. 2 years listening, being present, being consistent. 2 years putting up with disguised comparisons, believing that one day she would stop seeing her ex as a standard. And on our anniversary, in the restaurant I chose to please, with a gift thought only for her, she called me a consolation prize. "So you settled?" I asked quietly. She rolled her eyes. "Don't exaggerate. You know what I meant. You're a good guy, okay? It's the kind that a woman marries. But sometimes I wonder if I wasn't too quick, if I chose the safe path too early." I nodded slowly. I took a sip of water. "So you wanted Ryan to be sitting here in my place?" She didn't answer immediately. She shrugged. "Sometimes I wonder how it would have been if we had stayed together." I looked at her, but for real, not at the woman I met at the party 2 years ago, nor the one who laughed at my dry jokes or stayed awake with me watching bad documentaries. I looked at the woman who couldn't let go of a guy who discarded her and still thought that made him memorable and me forgettable. I called the waitress and asked for the bill. "What, are we leaving already?" "Yes," I answered, folding the receipt and putting my card inside. "Why?" she insisted. "Because I don't want to waste your time anymore, nor mine." She blinked, confused. "Don't dramatize. It was just a comment." I didn't respond. I signed the bill, stood up, and handed her coat. The way back was only silence. We arrived at a building, and she stood still with a hand on the handle, looking at me. "Are you angry?" "No," I answered, honestly. "Then why are you like this?" I looked at her.
"Because now I heard you, for real. That's all." She opened the door and got out. Before closing, she leaned in and said, "You're really not gonna act weird because of this, right? You'll text me tomorrow?" I didn't answer. I just drove and never texted again. The moment I left in front of her building, something inside me simply turned off. I didn't cry, didn't freak out, didn't run to tell friends or post indirects on Instagram. I just got home, turned off my phone, and sat in silence. It was the first night of peace I had in months. The next morning, I deleted all our conversations. I unfollowed her everywhere, blocked the number. Then I went for a long walk, had coffee, and went back to work as if nothing had happened. Closer to noon, the phone rang. Private number. I ignored it. Soon after, the text started, all from unknown numbers. Clearly her. "Seriously? You're ghosting me? Is this your way of punishing me for being honest? You're acting like a child, not even able to have a real conversation." After 2 years, I didn't answer any. I knew that if I answered, I would end up being pulled back. I would have to explain, calm down, become the therapist to the same person who looked into my eyes and said I was the inferior version of her ex. I didn't owe her anything anymore. On the 3rd day, the tone changed. I was wrong. Okay, it was impulse. I didn't say it the right way. "We can talk. I miss you. I miss us. Please don't throw everything away." It seemed surreal. The same woman who spent months saying I was predictable, now she was falling apart because I refused to argue. And I think that's what affected her the most, the fact that I didn't react. I didn't yell, didn't try to fix it, didn't ask for closure. I just disappeared. She always thought I would stay no matter what happened, that I was the stable guy, the safe one, the one who endures and comes back with flowers the next day. But she confused my silence with weakness, and now that silence was everything she had. A week passed without any response from me. That's when I received a message from a mutual friend, Amanda. We were never really close, but she was always nice and didn't seem to want to get involved in the story. The message said, "Hi, I know it's none of your business, but Sophie is a mess. She keeps texting me all the time talking about you." I just read it and left it. Oh, and she tried to get back with Ryan. That caught my attention. Sophie had gone back to texting her ex, the same Ryan she put on a pedestal. She posted an old photo of the two of them in stories with a vague caption, "Some connections don't disappear." Amanda said Sophie crossed the city just to run into him. They went out for drinks, slept together, and as always, he disappeared. Disappeared again, blocked her everywhere. I didn't feel satisfaction, just a silent confirmation of what I already knew. A few days later, I received 2 calls from a strange number. I ignored both. Right after, the message came. "I know you don't want to hear me, but I need to say this. Ryan is not who I thought he was. I was blind. I was stupid. You were the only one who really cared about me, who was present. I didn't see it before, but now I do. Please, can we meet just to talk? 5 minutes. I accept whatever you can give me." Even so, I didn't answer. The next day, another message. "Seriously? You're not gonna answer me? After everything I did for you? You really think you're gonna find someone who loves you like I loved you? You're just proving what I said. You were boring, weak, pathetic." There she was, without filter. The mask fell. The same pattern I saw happen with Ryan. She chases, gets ignored, despairs, gets angry. She didn't love me. She just loved the idea of being chosen. And when she wasn't, she collapsed. A few nights later, Amanda sent another message. She showed up at a party yesterday, drunk, crying, telling everyone she made the biggest mistake of her life. She tried to call Ryan again. One of his friends answered and told her to stop humiliating herself. People are starting to distance themselves. It's getting sad to watch. I didn't answer. I just put the phone aside and poured a glass of whiskey. She was sinking, but I wouldn't be the cushion she would fall on again. Another week passed. I thought maybe she had given up, accepted that I had really left. But then another message from Amanda. "Hi, just letting you know, Sophie is going to Kyle's birthday party next weekend." I didn't even know I was invited. "You are. Kyle asked me to tell you, and she knows you might show up." I hesitated. I didn't want to see her, but a part of me knew. That's where everything would end, where what was left of the illusion, of the unfinished script, would be closed for good. I replied, "I'll be there." The party was simple. Backyard, music, beer, a bonfire lit. When I arrived, some people came to talk to me, ask how I was. I was polite but direct. I didn't ask about Sophie, nor did I look for her, but I felt when she saw me. She didn't come to me right away. She circled around, pretended to be distracted near the snack table, as if it were part of some plan, until she finally came. "Hi." I looked at her, said nothing. "Are you okay? You look good." I nodded. "Can we talk?" "About what?" She became uncomfortable, moving her hands. "About everything. I had time to think. I know I said horrible things, that I wasn't fair to you. You said you settled, that I was boring, that you missed your ex. That's not what I meant. I was frustrated. I felt trapped. I thought maybe Ryan had something I was missing, but I was wrong." "You were wrong about Ryan or about me?" "About both. I ruined everything. Ryan was never going to be the guy I wanted him to be, but you were. You are. I just didn't realize it in time." I kept looking at her. She looked truly shaken. No makeup, hair tied, swollen eyes. That rehearsed confidence was gone, but I felt nothing. No anger, no pity, nothing. She lowered her voice. "Can we try again? Please." I smiled, not cruelly, just enough. "No, we can't." She blinked. "Why? You're single, so am I. We have history. I know I hurt you, but no. Sophie, you didn't hurt me. You just showed me who you really are." She fell silent. "You spent 2 years comparing me to a guy who cheated on you, treated you bad, and discarded you, and you still had the courage to look me in the eyes on our anniversary and call me a consolation prize." I was angry. "I didn't mean that, but you did. You just didn't expect me to leave without begging to stay."
She crossed her arms, now defensive. Oh, so you're perfect. Never said anything stupid in a relationship? No, I'm not perfect, but I never treated someone who gave me everything as if they were temporary. She fell silent again. You chased the ghost. You made Ryan your ideal, even after being thrown away. And when I wasn't as chaotic as him, you called me boring. And you said that calmly. So now let me make something very clear. You don't deserve stability. You don't deserve peace. And you definitely don't deserve me. She stood there for a few seconds, as if deciding to cry or start screaming.
You really think you're better than me now? She spat. I repeated, I think I always was. No exception, no asterisk. Her jaw tightened. I hope your monotonous life keeps you warm on cold nights, you idiot. It does, much more than your memories of a guy who blocked you twice. That hit like a punch. She trembled, turned her back and walked away. Some people looked, but no one said a word. I didn't go after her, didn't mock. I just walked toward the bonfire, sat down, opened a beer, and for the first time in a long time, I felt light, truly light. That night I went home, slept like a rock, and never heard about Sophie again. 8 months have passed, a lot has changed. I moved to a new apartment. I started painting again, something that always made me feel good. Work is calm, quiet, and for the first time, I feel fulfilled. Amanda told me Sophie moved back in with her mother. It seems she is trying to heal. Sometimes she still talks about me, but most people don't even respond anymore. Ryan is still out there, toxic, uninterested, and I almost never think about her. But when I do, I don't feel anger, just relief. Relief because for the first time in my life, I walked away without looking back from someone who never deserved me. If you stayed until here, thank you for listening to this story until the end. Your attention means a lot. If you liked it, leave a like, comment what you thought, and subscribe so you don't miss the next stories. See you next time.